Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being with us this evening. I am Dr. Collins, and I'm the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the Hoboken Public Schools. Tomorrow has been identified by the United Nations as World Day for Cultural Diversity for Dialogue and Development. And in honor of that, today we have partnered again with Kane University to highlight and celebrate diversity within our Hoboken school community. We have partnered with Dr. Adara Goldberg, who is the director of the Holocaust Resource Center and Diversity Council on Global Education and Citizenship. Some of our middle school and high school students have had the opportunity to attend the student leadership conferences hosted by the Diversity Council. We love having the opportunity to collaborate and have access to the Diversity Council as a resource. Dr. Goldberg will say a few words and she will introduce the Executive Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion from Kane University, and then our keynote speaker.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Collins, for that introduction and for inviting us to participate in today's program. So my name is Dr. Goldberg, and I direct the Diversity Council and Holocaust Resource Center at Kane. And we are very proud of the work that we do around diversity, equity, and inclusion. And what I'm even more proud of is that this work has been going on for more than 30 years. So we work with approximately 110 school districts in the state. And together we discuss issues that really affect all of us. So we work on anti-racism education, inclusion education, LGBTQ, disability. So we really try to work hard to make the state a better place for students and teachers. And one of the ways that we do that is through leadership conferences. And this is something that, for the students who are watching and who are going to tune in, we really hope that when you hit the middle school level, in high school, that we can bring you in and that you can participate and become a leader in your community. And at Kane, it's not just our center that's engaged in diversity work and dialogue, but we also have a department for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it is an honor to be able to introduce our first speaker tonight, Tamika Quick, who is the Executive Director of DEI. Tamika is a first-generation university student who was born in Harlem and raised in Passaic, New Jersey. She has a bachelor's in marketing and communication from Ramapo and an MA in counseling from Montclair State University. And she is currently pursuing her doctorate in education and educational leadership from St. Peter's University. And what I think is really exciting that Tamika does is she is a board member of something called ACE Women's Network New Jersey. And this is a statewide organization that is dedicated to developing, encouraging, supporting, and helping other women who are in higher education. And so without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Tamika.
Greetings, Hoboken Public School District. My name is Tamika Quick, and I am the Executive Director for the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at Kane University. I am honored to be joining you all for World Day Cultural Diversity 2021. Cultural diversity is an integral part of our existence and experience. The traditions, successes, and unsung stories of our wide spectrum of cultures should be accurately introduced in our school system curriculum from the earliest age and introduced into higher education. I am a strong advocate for providing students, faculty, and staff with the opportunity to contribute their thoughts and ideas into the classroom to increase our cultural competency in our communities and places of work. Education really is the foundation for a hopeful future. Facilitating conversations that are historically based should be cross-referenced with our current state to influence us in providing opportunities to engage community members of all backgrounds. Being progressive in our actions is crucial to the development of our future leaders and the changes they will make to our infrastructure to create one that is diverse in visible and non-visible traits. We must be intentional about our efforts to be inclusive. Analyzing data, strategic planning, and humility really must be at the forefront of thought when we are creating and enforcing system-wide policies. Inclusion is the model for best practice at all levels. I encourage you all to create spaces where we can safely convene. Let's open the door and prepare to have passionate conversations, fueled by our instinctive awareness that challenges our unconscious biases. While we choose today to highlight cultural diversity, we must move to make efforts year round that encompass our core values of respect, representation, consideration, and perspective. It is with great hope that you commit to listening to the thoughts and experiences of others with the same energy that you share. Have a happy Cultural Diversity Day, and thank you for having me.
Wonderful. So I am now so excited to introduce our keynote speaker tonight. May Tomko is a rising junior who is majoring in international relations at American University. She strives to address human rights abuses through grassroots organizing, cross cultural communication, and advocacy. Among other things, May is the outreach and prevention intern for Fair Girls, the training coordinator for the Asian and Pacific Islanders Domestic Violence Resource Project, co-president and former advocacy chair for the American University Asian Studies, Asian Student Association. And she is also a friend of Hoboken School District, and Kane. And we are so grateful that we get to hear about her own experiences tonight.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for having me today, and thank you for Dr. Goldberg for inviting me, and thank you for Dr. Pollins for getting me in contact with Kane University. So first, a little bit about me. My name's May Tomko. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a transracial Chinese American adoptee. So first, transracial adoptee, for those who aren't familiar with that term, it means that my family that adopted me is not the same race as me. So a lot of times transracial adoptees are children of color that are adopted into white families. And for my case, that is the same. So both of my parents are white, and my brother and I, adopted from a different orphanage, we're both Chinese. So growing up, it was quite unique, especially because I grew up in a pretty rural and quite conservative area that was predominantly white. So there was never really anyone that looked like me growing up. I always kind of felt like odd man out. And the very few Asian kids that were in my class at school were also transracial adoptees, but they obviously had very different experiences since adoption is a very unique thing, unique to every person. But I just felt very, very isolated because I was personally super interested in learning more about China and in general Asia and Asian culture, but a lot of people around me didn't, and they just didn't really know a lot about it, and it was just very isolating. So pretty much in elementary school, I harbored a lot of internalized racism. I wanted to be white very badly. I was not very proud of being Chinese American or being Asian American at all. And I specifically remember actually, I had Instagram at the time, even though I was really young. And I specifically remember wanting to change the color of my eyes in a photo I was going to post. And I was just thinking, like, oh, like blue eyes are cool, like it'll just be fun. But I also kind of in the back of my mind knew that I thought blue eyes were a lot better than brown eyes, and I just wanted to look different, and I was really jealous of all the other kids in my grade who had like blonde or brown hair and it was wavy, and I thought, oh, why is my hair so straight? I don't like it, that kind of thing. But in middle school, so much changed since then, and in around 7th or 8th grade, I joined an anime club at my school. And even though it sounds kind of nerdy or something, but that was the first time where I actually met other people that weren't Asian, that thought, in this case, East Asian culture was cool. Like they thought anime was super cool. Like we would meet in the library every week after school and watch a different show and talk about it. And it was just really a really amazing experience being able to be surrounded by people that thought something, even though I'm not Japanese, thought something that was Asian or East Asian was cool. And fast forward to high school, I got into K-pop, or Korean pop music, for those who don't know. And now it's super, super popular. Like BTS is one of the really big groups, but back then, and it was 2015 when I was a freshman, no one really knew about it. And I felt a little bit awkward talking about it, and wanting to like show my friends, hey, like this is something that's really cool, even though you don't understand it, like the music's really good. But again, I just felt very awkward. People just kind of brush it off. They're like, oh, what's that kind of thing. um so yeah, I pretty much had to kind of pave my own way in a sense, because there wasn't really any like Asian culture, Asian influence, anything where I lived. So pretty much all of it came from media and pop culture, but it was all like Asian media and Asian pop culture. And I did watch different YouTubers and things growing up too, and all of them were Asian American, like Ryan Higa and Wong Fu Productions. And I actually never understood why I was so drawn to their content. Like I just thought their stories and things were cool, but kind of looking back at it, I realized I was subconsciously seeking out that representation that I wasn't finding at school or like in my everyday life. So those things definitely helped me to become more confident in being an Asian American and being a Chinese American, but also just in general, being able to see people that had shared experiences, and just in general, just we had something shared about us. So now in college, I'm a rising junior at American University, majoring in international relations and focusing on human rights. So kind of, it's a jump going from, I guess, it might seem like a jump going from K-pop and anime to international relations, but actually those two things are really pivotal in me wanting to learn more about different cultures and different histories and different languages. Especially, like, I've studied Japanese for 2 years just because I thought it was a really beautiful language, and then I've been studying Mandarin for around 6 years, I think. And I taught myself the Korean alphabet because I wanted to be able to read all the different music video titles and lyrics and stuff, like phonetically, for the different K-pop videos. But yeah, that gateway into pop culture that wasn't American or like Western per se, that you see a lot, it just showed me how different and diverse the world is. And for me, I really enjoy music. I was in band in high school and middle school and elementary school, and I play multiple instruments. So kind of for me, the gateway into learning about different cultures was through music. And now, like, when I look at all of my playlists on Spotify, some people will say like, oh, like, it's in so many different languages. And I'm like, yeah, of course it is. Like, there's so many different kinds of music out there that's so beautiful and so interesting. And as Kim Namjoon, of the leader of BTS, he's one of my people that I look up to. He said, I'm paraphrasing, but language transcends all different kinds of barriers, and music, it transcends languages. So I firmly believe that if you find something that a lot of people enjoy, so in this case it was music, but also same with food, like, you can just really connect with people on a different level. And I've had so many different interesting conversations with people that grew up in all different kinds of households, speaking different languages and cultures, and we connected over music. And I would say, oh, I really like that song, I really like that artist, and they would say, no way, you know that, or something like that. So yeah, just in general, being able to connect with people over different cultures, I think, is something that's really beautiful. And even though for me the gateway was just like Japanese cartoons and like Korean boy bands, like, it's infinite what's out there. And I think especially with social media, and especially TikTok and Instagram and also YouTube, there's a lot more media and content out there that's from different countries that's so easy to explore. But yeah, I would definitely say that on this day that we're celebrating different cultures and things, it's completely okay to not feel completely comfortable in your culture or your heritage or your background. And I feel that so many people go through that, the kind of crisis of, am I this enough? So for me, it was like, oh, am I Asian enough? Especially because I was raised in a white household and I didn't have any Asian friends. So I didn't really know how to go about it at first, but just watching different kinds of media and things, because I genuinely enjoyed it, not because I was trying to be more Asian or something. I was just open up to different kinds of things. And, you can't really have someone tell you you're not this enough, or you're not that enough, or you're too this. So, like, you're too Asian, you're too white, that kind of thing. There's no right for someone to be gatekeeping a culture from you, especially when it's your culture, or even when you want to learn more about a different culture. And I truly think that engaging in dialogue, especially now with a lot of different conversations opening up, it's so important just to learn more about how someone else was raised, where they grew up, what life in their neck of the woods was like. So for me, when I entered college, I immediately knew that I wanted to join American University's Asian American Student Union, because as I kind of described before, like, I always longed for that kind of Asian community around me. But as soon as I got there, I realized that there's so many different cultures and histories and food and languages and things like that within the Asian diaspora and within the Asian American community. So, for example, my best friend that I met in college, she's half Filipino and half Lao, and she was raised in Hawaii. And just all of that together, even those identities separately, I had no idea. And she's Buddhist, so I learned so much from her. And, kind of going into it, you might think certain communities are all the same, like, oh, all Asians are the same, like something like that, without really realizing that every single community is not monolithic. So I think when you're trying to engage in this kind of dialogue with other people, it's so important to just kind of erase all those different thoughts you might have about a certain group. Because, for example, even within the Asian American community, it's not just East Asia, which is what people normally think of when you say Asian, which is really unfortunate. Like, there's also South Asia, like India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, the Maldives, and, within West Asia, which is what also known as the Middle East, like Iran, Iraq, all those countries, and then Southeast Asia with the Philippines, Laos, Thailand. So just understanding that there's so many different things out there within a larger culture. But from my experience, I would definitely say, as an adoptee, it's taken me a very long time to be comfortable with that culture in itself, understanding how I am both an Asian American and Chinese American, but also in a way I'm Hungarian American, because my dad is Hungarian American, and my mom, even though she doesn't have really strong ties to her ethnic culture, she was raised in Delaware, and we have a lot of family there. So understanding that there's a lot of family history for me within Delaware as well. So it's okay to not really limit yourself to one kind of culture or another. It's okay to be both. And we all have intersecting identities, and everything's intersectional. Like, I identify as a cisgender woman who is Asian, whereas, someone else has different identities. So for World Culture Day and celebrating diversity and different voices and experiences within education, it's really, really important to honor the intersectionality and the various identities of different people, while also being open to learning new things and, being okay that something you thought or said might be wrong, because we know ourselves best, but, we're also really open to talking about it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for today. So thank you so much again for having me talk. And if anyone would like to contact me for anything, you can reach out to me at meitomko@gmail.com. That's MEITOMKO@gmail.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to May for delivering that message to us this evening. This is the second time May has been with us. She actually was a panelist on our Asian American and Pacific Islander Voices panel in honor of this month in being AAPI Heritage Month. So we are very grateful to May for spending time with us again. There are so many things that make us unique, and we should all be proud and celebrate who we are and everything that makes us us. I appreciate May giving us a snapshot into who she is and sharing a bit of her story. This year we had a community book club, and the title of the book was Tell Me Who You Are. It was written by current students at Princeton University. They went around the country saying to people, tell me who you are. We read different stories about different people across our country and had great conversation about race, culture, gender, and how we are all connected and alike in some way. I want to thank the members of the community, parents and teachers who all participated, and the teachers who served as co-leads. Ms. White from Connor School, Ms. Mara from Wallace School, Ms. Schultes from Connor School, and Ms. Goodwin from Hoboken Middle School. We also want to thank the Hoboken Education Foundation for providing copies of the book for anyone who was in need of one to participate. At this time, we have a few remarks from Ms. Mara and Ms. Schultes about their book club experience.
Hi everyone, my name's Lauren Schultes and I was a co-lead of our book club this year. And I just wanted to say how much of an impact I think it had not only on myself, but also my fellow participants. When we would break out into the breakout rooms on Zoom, everyone had something to bring to the table and an interpretation of the reading or an experience they had that they could relate to what they had read. And I just think it was a really positive experience that got, a conversation that's so important going, and with ideas brought up then of how to keep this conversation going and how to really take it and make a positive impact.
Hi, my name is Miss Mara, and I am one of the co-leads of our district book club. It was a really fantastic time had by all. As an educator, it really was nice to hear the perspectives of parents and fellow colleagues on how each of these stories touched them and spoke to them in a different way, because everybody took something different away from one story about one person, and it was really special to have those talks, have those discussions, and talk about some really difficult and tough topics. It was a safe space. It was a space where we could come together to share, to learn, and to grow. And I'm really thankful that we all had the opportunity to take part in it, and I cannot wait for the next one.
I really enjoyed, spending time with the co-leads and spending time with our book club members, because it really was a way for us to make conversations about race, culture, and gender more common. And we will be doing another book club next year, and we look forward to you signing up and you participating. Thank you to everyone who sent in a selfie. We put out the all call in the Herald and in classroom dojos and in newsletters, and asked for you to show us who you are. So thank you to those who submitted videos and sent in family selfies. Mr. Munoz has compiled them all, and we now get to see who you are and get to hear all the beautiful languages spoken in our district. So let's take a look at the video.
is fun, and we've just begun to get our share of this world's delight. Hi.
Saga Hoboken! Woo! Me encanta Hoboken. And you live in Hoboken. Jag älskar Hoboken. I love Hoboken in Japanese. 私は Hoboken が大好き and in German. Ich liebe Hoboken. मुझे Hoboken से प्यार है. Me encanta Hoboken.
We love Hoboken.
Hola, yo amo Hoboken. I love you, Hoboken. 사랑해요, Hoboken.
사랑해요, 호보겐.
I amo Hoboken.
Mahal kita, Hoboken!
I love Hoboken. मुझे Hoboken से प्यार है. אני אוהב אותך, Hoboken. मला Hoboken खूप आवडते. Digwitch is Mr. Connor, is Mr. Ben. McGrath to Hoboken! 我爱 Hoboken, 我爱 Grant. Elko Hoboken Instrumana. Oh, Beecham Hoboken. I love school.
Les élèves de Madame Jetty à la Hoboken Middle School adorent Hoboken.
We truly love you all and enjoy our Hoboken family. Our hearts are overjoyed by looking at the family selfies and hearing you say you love Hoboken and that you love your school. We truly, truly love you, and we are all one big family. We have to give a big thanks to two amazing people, our superintendent of schools, Dr. Christine Johnson and Mrs. Rodriguez Gomez. They both show us who they are on a daily basis as they serve as our district leaders. I am so grateful to them both for their dedication to our district and to the work being done in the space of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Thank you to all of you for logging on this evening. Thank you again to Dr. Goldberg for your collaboration. And thank you to Mr. Munoz for doing such a beautiful job with our family photos and videos. Please save the date of June 9th from 5:30 to 6:30 for our rainbow yoga and meditation session that will be led by Ms. Ellis, Dr. Algier, and Ms. Barilaw. Have a great evening, everyone. We love Hoboken.